Before European contact, there were over 800 different tribal groups, each with their own religious practices. While there were some differences, these religious practices share many common themes throughout.
Native religion places great importance on both the landscape and animals. Nature is highly valued and taken care of in Native culture. There was an overarching idea that the Native people were connected to the land, what grows in the land, and the animals that dwelled there. Before European contact in North America, most tribes relied on hunting and gathering for their food source. There were also many rituals, traditions, feasts, and ceremonies involved in Native religions. These rituals were passed down and unchanged for centuries and ingrained part of their religious culture. Many of the ceremonies and festivals they partook in were centered around natural phenomenon. An example of these are sun dances and rain dances performed by many different Native groups. These ceremonies often involve sacred artifacts like drums.
These events were very important to both their social and political life. Religious ceremonies imbued the Native people with a sense of community. They were a time where people gathered together in order to worship. Being estranged from your tribe's religion would have resulted in social isolation. When Europeans began settling, they sent out missionaries to convert the Native people. The first missionaries were dominantly Roman Catholic, but others soon followed suit.
As American government began to have more control of the land, they started sending Native children away to boarding schools. Oftentimes, these children were unwillingly taken from their families, being raised without the possibility of learning their people's religion, language, and culture. They were systematic in their placement of the children, spreading them out so children from the same tribe wouldn't be in the same school. Native American boarding schools were quickly placed all around the country during the 19th and 20th century.
These schools were first started by Christian missionaries, but soon the government would pay religious organizations to provide education to Native children. The mission of Native American boarding schools was to raise Native children to Euro-American standards, and this included teaching them religions that were acceptable to the American people, largely Catholicism and other Christian sects. The children's hair would be cut into European styles, and they would be taught English and forbidden to learn their native tongue, and the children would be subjected to harsh punishments if they disobeyed. Abuse was rampant in Native American boarding schools, scaring the children into assimilating to Euro-American culture. Even the children's traditional native names were taken from them and replaced with European ones.
By not allowing the children to learn their native tongue, they further removed their ability to learn their religious culture. Even if they did return to their tribe one day, they would not be able to communicate and learn from their elders about their people's religion. And furthermore, the genocide of the native people by the American government crippled their populations. By the end of European contact and the American government's genocide of their people, 95% of the native population had been killed. This led to holes in their ability to learn their religious practices.
Many native communities did not have written languages, relying heavily on verbal communication to pass down their traditions and religion. Because of this, when their population was so heavily decreased, this made verbally passing down their religious history ineffective. This has been a large factor in the loss of religious culture for the native people. In modern times, the effect of European contact and American government can still be seen in native religions. Christianity is widespread among current native populations due to its use as a tool for cultural assimilation.
Because there is no written text about many of the native religions, people have taken elements from long-standing native beliefs and blended them with Christian themes. Recently, reservation schools have been working to incorporate the history of the religions that their ancestors practiced to help native children be better immersed in their culture. Some reservations even have adult classes for those who want to learn about their culture's religious past. Native populations are seen having high rates of drug abuse and PTSD due to historic trauma related to events from the past. Because their culture has and still does place so much importance on the land they live off of, it has been very hard for members to deal with the loss of territory. Still to this day, there is continual disrespect for native lands on the part of the American government.
At the same time, there are still efforts being made by Native people to relearn their culture and keep it alive among their people. Many Native museums, cultural centers, and longhouses have been used as methods of preserving information about their culture and teaching the American public about it. There is a clear connection between European contact and the current state of Native religious practices. Because of Native boarding schools, a lack of written text, and a severe dent in their former population, Native religions have changed immensely.
Their religion beliefs are no longer what they were, and instead they have adopted and blended their religion beliefs with Christian themes. Many of the same ideals live on in their current religion culture, but shows itself in new ways.